All right. Sorry, I was gone a little bit longer than I said I would be gone. This is my finished zombie splinter from the video just a little bit ago. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on Scarlet Witch. She's the last in my zombie Avengers series. So I'm gonna test my brush pen. It's probably still not as dark as it should be. Shit. I was really hoping that would work. I was having okay success with the brush, just a regular brush. Hold on a second. Sorry. Closing doors and getting things set up so there's no other noises happening. I was doing okay with the brush earlier, so hopefully I can keep that kind of going. Anyway, this is just my piece of paper I'm just doing marks on so I don't ruin anything ink-wise. I'm going to switch these around, move this over a little bit. Just kind of set things up a little bit better. So you guys can see a little bit better. I have so much ink stuff happening now. So, there we go. All right. So I'm not necessarily announcing the start of this one, so I'm not assuming people will be here right away. But for those of you watching later, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. Don't always do live streams, but yeah, I'm gonna keep making videos as long as I can. So make them as often as possible. That's the goal. So I guess a brush isn't that much different than a brush pen. I'm all up in my head about working with a regular brush after getting so used to the brush pen. I feel like you can get even more variancy of line with just your regular brush, actually. I'm finding that anyway to be true. This is the very last zombie in my Zombie Avengers series currently. I might go back and do a couple extra little things, but as far as heroes, I mean, it's everybody. So, but I might later on do some villains and add them in, but we'll see. No guarantees. Trying not to put too much on my plate. Also, Voltron's a robot, so might be. I had enough problems just making Iron Man a zombie. I think I'd much rather just draw him as himself. Just do a Voltron sketch card or something. I mean, Loki would be good, but he's more of a side. I don't want to see side character. He's not the main villain, you know. So I was debating on whether or not to come back and do this video tonight, but I really am excited at the prospect of being done with this series. I'm pretty committed to being done with it today. I posted while I was doing all of the ink washes for all the rest of them all today. I think after this is done, I'll be at about an 11-hour day for today. So it's been a long one. I've gotten a lot of stuff done. That was on my, I mean, I far surpassed my checklist of things to get done today. So, and the zombie splinter came out really good, even though I spent about an hour longer than I planned to on it. I'm still happy with the result. I mean, I wasn't gonna do ink washes on it, and then I just felt like doing it anyway. So it just felt right. I didn't want to leave it unfinished. And then have to come back to it. I figured, why not, you know? Just do the whole thing. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is just finishing up projects that I've already started and I'm halfway through. So Zombie X-Men is almost done. Zombie Avengers will be done tonight. Zombie Time, my Adventure Time zombie run, has got a few characters left. I think like 4. But also a lot of them are drawn to be a part of like the larger compositions. So I then have to turn them into that larger composition, and I'll be working on that later for each series to make the inevitable final print with all the characters. That was the reason I made all the characters. But I'll still be really, I don't know how long it'll take me to get to that point. So I plan on releasing prints pretty soon of a lot of the characters and stuff I've been working on as individuals. And then whenever it happens that I'm able to finish all the drawings up and put them together into bigger pieces, it'll happen. I'll get there and then it'll be done. Until then, I want to have something out there. And once the larger prints are up, then I'll limit the limit the amount of prints I'm doing on the other ones. So at least that's the theoretical plan anyway. I tend to plan too much. I've not really been thinking too hard about it on purpose. so that I don't overthink it. So for this, I don't really have a method of where I start or anything like that. I just kind of go for it. Got my lines of what I've already drawn. The pencils for her body are pretty rough, so I'm just gonna kind of make it up as I go. I'm getting kind of tired, so sorry for not talking as much. Also don't have any viewer communication currently, so it's also affecting my having something directly to talk about. Ugh, all these little teeth. Why did I make them so small? I don't know much about Scarlet Witch as far as characters go in the Marvel Universe. I know she was one of the sort of original Avengers with, or at least it seems that way from what I kind of read about it. But she's also Magneto's daughter, I guess. Which is pretty cool. Just a little story thing. That, or at least I've been told that. I'm not sure how true that is. I have a viewer now, so I'm gonna set it up to where I can view the YouTube at the same time real quick. Just so if there's any comments or anything like that, I can read those. For whatever reason, I have to refresh to see the new comments, so I'll be refreshing probably about every 5 minutes. So if you comment, just stick in there, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Don't know about that line. That was not good. Drawing a sideways angle just made her boob like 3 times too big. Go figure. I haven't mastered female proportions, obviously. Whatever. So, anyway. So yeah, just working on Scarlet Witch. The other Avengers all seem to have come out pretty good. If you're watching, as you can see, I'm using a real, just regular brush. It's nothing fancy, just a watercolor brush from Walmart. Came in like a $10 pack or something. I just needed something real quick, and then my brush pens having problems right now because I don't have any of the official ink for it or whatever. Doesn't seem to want to work with the seed ball that I bought because it was cheap. So just dries too fast. It's already dry right now on my brush. Also doesn't create as crisp of lines, so I don't necessarily like it as much either. Just making sure that see the page okay. Not a ton of zombiness on this sketch specifically. There's a few things here and there, but for the most part, she's pretty normal. She's got a little bite here on her arm and some gore on her face. But she's not too terribly zombified. Hands are kind of the dread of my existence. Hands and feet. I feel like a lot of people have that same problem though, so I'm not gonna feel bad about it or anything. And I'm getting a lot better. I have no idea what to do for her, like atmospheric effect or whatever here. For her powers. I guess I should have sat down and looked at this first and kind of checked in. I'll have a look at my photo reference when I get to that point. forgetting to talk. I apologize. Sorry. Kind of wore myself out, I think, on the last one. Splinter turned out to be a much bigger project than I anticipated. There's nothing wrong with that, though. I really don't mind working on a piece for an hour or so longer than I thought. You know, only makes it better. At least that's how I see it. Or try to look at it anyway. You're gonna ask how I choose where I'm working next on the page. Honestly, have no clue. I'm just gonna go with whatever feels right at that moment. I just skip from the leg to the hair, and that's really just so I can get my hand out of the way of wet ink. And there's really not much more to it than that most of the time. Most of the time I'm not really thinking about it, I just kind of, because if I think about it and I try and plan out, it just doesn't happen that way anyway. So I know I did a couple of videos before where at the beginning I'd talk about my plan of attack for the piece or whatever. And for both of them, it just totally went a different way. So I decided to stop doing that. I mean, it gave me something to talk about, but it was like a distraction from actually doing my work more than it was helping me plan it out or whatever. So, Noob Comic, when do you live stream your drawings? And well, I'm live streaming right now. My background with drawing, I did just a lot of drawing for me for a very long time, and nothing necessarily comics for a very long time. Like in high school, I just kind of drew whatever I felt like. But when I was in high school, my art teacher refused to grade anything that was non-realistic, which I always thought was bullshit. I had a lot of arguments with her. I almost got, well, I had in-school detention multiple times for getting in arguments with her, but There are a couple times where it definitely escalated. But my background with drawing, I did try and go to art school for college right away. It didn't pan out, just based off of some things that were happening at the school that were outside of my control. I didn't feel like it was worth staying. Neither did most of the other people. I believe there were like very few people that even made it past like the first semester that year. The school went under new management stuff. I had like 5 teachers, and I think like 3 of them were substitutes. So it just never went as planned. Uh, and by the time it was like trimesters, so by the time the first trimester was over, I just didn't think it was worth putting in the money to go again. So I left that. I kind of wish I had stayed, but kind of not, because I see where people are that went to school with me. And the more I look into art, the more I realize it's just more than anything, it's self-motivated. If you know what you want out of it, if you put in the time and the practice, that's all it takes. I mean, you can really learn to do anything if you put your mind to it. So yeah, it's more about putting in the time and just practicing a lot. Past my initial attempts at art school, I went to community college. I'm still attending community college, but not at the moment per se. I took some drawing classes, whatnot, just the basic regular ones, drawing or introduction to drawing, which is a class I'd already taken at the other college. So, but because it was trimester instead of semester, I couldn't transfer credit, and so I had to take it again. Which was whatever. The teacher basically let me do whatever I wanted in that class, which was really great of her. I used it kind of as almost a studio time class. And then I took drawing 2, which was just like the next step up, nothing fancy still. And still mostly stuff that I'd already known and done before, just kind of on my own, figuring stuff out. And when I went to the art college, even for that short period of time, you'd be surprised how much of that crossed over. I haven't necessarily taken it any at all, like Photoshop or digital art classes. I took a design class, but dropped it because of other stuff going on at the time. About a third of the way through. So yeah, figure drawing. Figure drawing is the most important. I really believe that if you're looking into doing comics or just illustrations of people in general, learning to get your proportions and stuff right. But as far as my background, I'd say just filling up sketchbooks, it makes all the difference. Drawing every day really makes all the difference right now. That's my big thing. But I have my own comic that I put out that's called The Plagued. It's very slow going because I do the whole process, writing and illustrating, watercolor, inks, pencils, lettering, Photoshop touch-ups, editing. I mean, the whole thing is me and Camille, who is my girlfriend and pretty much art partner for the last 4 years. We do the work together. I kind of share the load a little bit, but it's mostly me, because she does some watercolors here and there, but yeah, I pretty much do everything else. So it's a long process. Each one's a long time in the making, and it has taken a year basically to put out each issue. That has also a lot to do with the amount of time I've been able to dedicate to it. I've been able to dedicate so much more time to art recently that I've really been able to bloom a little bit, or blossom, or whatever. I feel like I'm going through a personal renaissance. But as far as zombies go, I've been drawing zombies for 4 years now. So I wasn't doing any caricature type zombies or anything before. Just drawing regular zombies, and not like on a daily basis or anything, just kind of every once in a while when I didn't know what else to draw, if I was drawing. But yeah, I just was drawing when I could, and and I got to this impasse recently, where I've been going to conventions and stuff for a couple of years, and I only have my comic work, and so I don't have anything to sell to people. But, I mean, that's a major thing. You can't bring in an income off of your work at all. It can't help you fund more supplies, or get things to better your work. So, and that's okay for. I mean, it's been okay. I wasn't too terribly worried about it, but I'm getting to the point where I've been doing this for so long professionally. I'd like to get some income out of it, and make some money that I can put back in, so I could do larger print runs on my comics, and just stuff like that. Get some supplies that are in desperate need, such as like Copic markers and stuff I can't normally toss money at or afford in the real world. But yeah, thank you for the compliment. I don't have a set time or anything where I generally live stream, but if you follow, or if you have an Instagram or a Tumblr, I generally post daily. My Tumblr is more just like a copycat account of my Instagram for people who want to check it out, or reblog, or whatever. Things like that. Things that are important to get out there into the world. But I never go on there and respond to comments, because I never really have any or anything. Because I haven't tried to build my following, and I don't follow anybody else or anything like that. Could be cool. She had a brain in her hand. Yeah, it could. I mean, I have like there's a whole series I've been working on for the Zombie Avengers. This is the very last one. So they're kind of all part of an overall composition that I've been working on. Thank you for the compliment on the hair. Yeah, I've been working on hair a lot recently. It's something I've been getting better at. I gotta tip this upside down to reach this other hand. So anyway, yeah, my Instagram and Tumblr are both Life of a Whitfield. So it's life of, and then Whitfield spelled Whitfield. Or if you have an Instagram, you can just search for Zombie Avengers, and I'll probably be like the last million things to popped up. Or Draw Till It Bleeds is another hashtag I use on a regular basis. That's my publisher's hashtag. So, and my YouTube hashtag for my videos. Makes it pretty easy for people to find. And I generally put it in the title, so it comes up right away. But yeah, I was mentioning earlier, this one specifically doesn't have as much gore as a lot of the other ones I've been doing. Kind of just to regulate and give a little bit more variety, but so she's only been bitten just the once that you could see, and it's right here on the arm. And that's just because I have a few in there that are a lot gorier than others, and I like to have a few that are just kind of more basic like this. But that is because they're all part of an overall composition, as opposed to each being its own individual drawing, even though I am doing them all as individual drawings first. Man, I feel weird about this hand. Mainly because that finger is longer than it should be. Thank you for commenting, by the way. If you don't, if you're still viewing and you don't mind me asking, how did you find the video? Did it just pop up, or did you find me through Instagram, or? Yeah. Inking on this is actually going a lot faster than I thought it would. I was kind of worried because the sketch is so loose, but it didn't need to be too terribly refined. I feel like not a massive amount going on with this one, which is good. Some of the other ones got a little too busy. Plus, this is full body shot. It's always a little bit more difficult. Try and fill in this area a little better to fix that first line I made. So I don't know what her powers really look like. Let me find my photo reference for Scarlett Witch right away. Shouldn't take me too long. I saved it in my photos earlier today so that it would be easy to find. Yeah, the only photo I have of her using her powers pretty much looks exactly like this, stars and loops. So I hope that that's okay. I haven't actually read any comics that have her in them, which is so if you know anything about it, feel free to comment and give me a little history lesson, because I'd be happy to know more about her as a character. I'm gonna know that she's Magneto's daughter, and so is our Quicksilver is also Magneto's kid. But past that, I don't know anything about them, so. Buy your comic directly from forbiddenpanel.com or somewhere else. Forbidden Panel is where to go. I don't have any copies with me because I'm out of state from where my usual base of operations is. But yeah, Forbidden Panel is definitely the place to get it. I'm not sure if they sell the paper copies there or just digital. But yeah, YouTube, and I saw you were live, and now I'm here. I'm also in SoCal. Cool. Yeah, we're a comic book, like my publisher's based out of Redlands. Basically what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I struggle with words, I guess, sometimes. But we've done WonderCon for a few years and stuff like that. We won't be attending as professionals this year, just as, for fun. But oh man, this is like the worst circle ever. What kind of weird sketching crap did I do before that this was not like a real thing? From what I understand, she makes like portals or something. And I'm trying to make this look a little bit more like that. I don't know what I'm doing with it for her power. It's a little hard to do. Do a little line here, up there. Some little stuff to add dimension down here. Well, I'm glad you found me. I think you're the first person to just kind of stumble upon my work. So thank you very much. Yeah, my comic book is, I mean, it's grown a lot. The first issue is a little bit different than the second and third. The third isn't out yet. I've been working on it a lot. If you have an Instagram, I highly recommend if you want to check out more of my more recent work, because my work is done months in advance. So where I'm at right now, work-wise, completely different than what you'll kind of find online. So, but the first issue of The Plague was drawn mostly at a 24-hour comic book day event. So it's not got a lot of the detail, like real story or anything going on in it. And then for the second issue, I got to spend a lot more time, but it took me a very long time to put it out because I was also working and going to school and all of that good stuff that you gotta do in life. But The Plague has been a growing experience. The longer I've worked on it, the more dedicated, I guess, I've had to become, because when I finished the second issue, I really was in need of a break. I had too much depressing stuff going on in my life to draw zombies and draw things that were wearing on my emotions, I guess. I just couldn't write like sad stories at that time, so I kind of switched gears and stuff. Took a while off of it, and that's definitely slowed me down, but I'm a lot better for it, and I came back with kind of a renewed outlook, perspective, and determination, especially. And then I came out to Idaho to work for family, and that's become a whole thing. But while I was out here, we had a time period where we were out of work. Sorry, I'm cleaning brushes right now. And during that time where we were out of work, in order to feel like I was continuously accomplishing something, I just started working 8+, usually 10+ hours a day on my art, to try and feel like I was still accomplishing something, even though, like, as far as making money goes, I wasn't, I didn't have an income, so I wanted to stay productive. The older I get, the more productive I want to be on a daily basis, and I mean, that's good. It hasn't served me wrong yet, but just in the last, I don't know, 6 months, the amount of work and the quality of work that I've produced just totally changed. I think a lot of that has to do with switching to a brush over like multi-liners and stuff like that. It just works better for me and my style. It allows me to get a lot of different line weight, and now that I'm more accurate with it and experienced, I can do even more than I could before. So trying to clean out this brush so it doesn't dry with ink in it. And then I'm going to erase this and scan it real quick. And then I'm going to do ink washes over top of it. And I did the exact same thing as I did in the last video I made, where I forgot to put my signature down before I clean my brush. So I'm going to have to clean it again, because I can't seem to remember to do that. Not used to using brushes. I usually use a Pentel brush pen. And that definitely is a different experience. I highly recommend the brush pen. But kind of nice to switch gears and know that I can still use the brush. Thank you on the comment about my swamp thing. Yeah, that's a 20-hour drawing just for pencils. I did it a little over a year ago. I think it was a year ago. No, it was like, I want to say 7, 8 months ago. But it's in California and I'm out here, and I did it before I had my printer, so I'm desperately waiting to scan it and get back on it. So, where did my ink go? I put it over here. Why? But thank you. Yeah, that was a long period of work. When I ink that, that's going to be like my pride and joy. Got ink all over my hands. Okay, so there it is. Just minor stuff. Once I erase, it's easier for me to see areas where I might have missed something, like that right there. There was just no connecting line. Little stuff like that. Little stuff like up here, there's no where the scarf begins and where the hair ends is not clearly enough to find. And the same thing right here. This hair just needs to be accentuated a little bit more. And it's all personal preference and opinion. But, and then my signature. Okay. Give that like 20 seconds to dry. I don't want to get ink on my printer. Scanning area. Still getting a pretty steady stream of likes over on Instagram, but Thanks for checking out my stuff, by the way. That means a lot. There you go, getting a little bit better. A little bit more cleaned up. I'm going to scan this. It takes about 2 minutes. So if you have any questions, now's definitely the time to ask. I appreciate you watching. No, those are okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna be watercoloring Zombie Beast probably tomorrow, so he'll finally be blue. He's the only one. I have him and Phoenix, and I'll be done with my Zombie X-Men, like the 90s TV show X-Men 4 characters. Like I don't know if you're here, how long you've been here, but yeah, they're all things like that I've been doing as part of bigger compositions. So they all fit together. They're all drawn, and I kind of planned it out where one was going to be, and then drew the next one after kind of thinking about how it was going to go. Did some thumbnails, especially on the X-Men and Avengers. So I kind of have that all planned out, how it's going to go, how they're going to fit together. So I'm excited about it. I don't think I've ever taken on anything that's such like a massive artistic venture, but it's been coming along nicely. I'm definitely happy I chose to do it. You know, and I got the Zombie Adventure Time ones too, and some Nintendo, and then some random sketches. I did Splinter earlier tonight, TNT, and that was fun. That was off request for my 500th follower. Yeah. So, just cool little stuff. Sorry, I'm just waiting for scanning right now, but I can cycle through the rest of the Avengers here while you wait. We got Spider-Man, yeah, and then Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, the Hulk, Captain America, and then Iron Man. So, and I don't know where I put Quicksilver. He's around here somewhere. I think he's over here. He should be in this stack too, but he doesn't really fit all on the screen, so I made him too tall. But still came out good. And then my next live stream should be this Zombie Phoenix. I'm not sure when I'm going to be doing that, if it'll be tomorrow or the next day, or it just depends on what days I have off work. My work schedule is kind of random and only known the day before right now because it depends on the rain whether or not we can work. So, what shows and comics do you like at the moment? I've been watching a lot of the old 90s X-Men. It's one of my favorites from when I was a kid growing up. I was like, I don't even know. I was like a little kid when it was on, and it was one of my favorite things ever. It was what that and the like original Spider-Man like that block of Saturday morning cartoons is what initially got me into comics. But as for um, shows and comics I like right now, I mean, I draw zombie comics, and I gotta say I've been following The Walking Dead since issue by issue since 2009. I met Kirkman, and yeah, I don't think that that's ever going away. I just like to follow that storyline and see where it goes. A couple months behind right now, which is really bumming me out, but it's the only one I've kept up with issue for issue. And go and get it at the comic store every month. I used to do American Vampire by Snyder and Albuquerque, and that was really great. And then they went on hiatus, and I've just not that for whatever reason the comic book store did not put it back on my pull when it came back off. I missed like 5 issues, and yeah, so now I'll just be buying that book for book like I do some other things. I really like Lock and Key, but still haven't bought the last book because I haven't had a ton of money recently for my comic books collection. Read Invincible, Hellboy, Brian Lee O'Malley's work, Scott Pilgrim, Seconds, Lost at Sea, those kinds of things. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, I really like a lot. Obviously, love Swamp Thing. Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing was really great also. I gotta give him props on having what I thought was the best Swamp Thing storyline since the original. But yeah, I never read a lot of comic books when I was growing up. I grew up in Idaho, and the nearest comic book store, I mean, it's even further now than it was when I was growing up. When I was growing up, it was in Coeur d'Alene, which is, I mean, I'm sure you have no reference unless you looked at a map, but it's about 35 miles away, 40 miles away, something like that. I think it's like 35 miles from where I am. But now the nearest comic book store is about 45 miles away, maybe even 50. So it's like an hour and a half drive. And so I just can't make that drive to go out and get books. You know what I mean? But shows, I watch a lot of Game of Thrones. Definitely my personal favorites. Like all-time favorite show, Game of Thrones, right there. I watched The Walking Dead. I'm not caught up. I kind of sacrificed my shows for making art, so I fall behind. I mean, I draw zombies every day, so you'd think I'd be caught up at least on Walking Dead, but I'm not. I'm an episode behind now. And then I watch pretty much a lot of pop culture stuff. I watch Doctor Who. I watch what else do I watch? I watch Arrow, The Flash. I've been watching a lot of Stargate SG-1 recently, even though that's not a new show. It's what I watch when I draw, because I can't pay full attention, obviously. So I watch like X-Men and Stargate. Those are my 2 favorites currently, but I kind of run through shows that are on Netflix. Pretty much watched everything on HBO Go, Hulu, Whenever I fully fill out a block of whatever service and what they provide, then I start the next thing. So I've seen a lot of television. Definitely love the newer Marvel movies. Really excited for Age of Ultron. Loved Guardians of the Galaxy. It was really great. I still have not drawn any characters from Guardians of the Galaxy, which is, I don't know why not, but when I get to those, that's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm kind of holding off on it because I kind of feel like I missed the boat. So almost holding off. It'll be like a year before their next movie comes out or something. I don't know. It's almost like I might as well wait. But see what happens. I'm planning on doing some Game of Thrones prints this year. So those are next on my list. As far as new projects and whatnot. And then trying to think of other shows I watch. I watch a ton of television. I don't know why I'm blanking right now on that. But I've been most recently, just been watching other people draw on the internet. I find it very helpful in keeping me inspired and working. And they seem to appreciate it. Which is always nice when another artist is appreciative of you just caring about their work. That makes a difference for me. Like I want to find more people that are doing the same thing, and it gives a sense of community, even though they might not all know who I am or care. But I mean, all the people I've found so far seem pretty genuine, and what they're kind of doing and who they are, and just kind of are in the same boat as me, want to make an impression, make it in, and do art as a living. And I respect anyone who's doing that. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, obviously, I haven't been able to achieve it, but I feel like I'm getting closer every day that I draw every day. Especially with, I feel like the quality of work I've been producing more recently is it's above and beyond. It really is. It's just like a next level to what I was making before. But I'm laying the time in, and that's what really makes the difference. When I was living there in California and working and going to school and everything else, I mean, the amount of time I could put in, you're looking at 1 to 2 hours a day as opposed to 6 hours a day right now, minimum. That's what I usually put in. So usually 4 hours minimum days I went to work and stuff. So, which is hard to do. It's not always easy, but I have really made a point to commit to it, and it's made a huge difference. So practice makes perfect. So if I'm not practicing every day, what am I doing? That's the way I look at it. And it's completely changed how people are addressing me on social media, how interested people are in my work and the things that I'm doing and the quality of work that I'm doing. So the trick here is to never let it dry all the way, or you get like a split in the mark where it overlaps. So, and that applies to watercolors and pretty much anything where you're laying down a full color all at one time and you want it to be consistent. You gotta really work it to get that to happen. And you gotta keep the ink or coloring here. Otherwise, when it dries, it's stuck, and then when you add another layer, you can still see the layer before underneath and all the different marks you made. And where it dried is varying, like right there. I have a streak across right now. I gotta fix it. But I don't need as much water because now I'll have to spread it even further around. My paper is already warping. I'm not really working on watercolor paper, which is probably not for the best, but it allows me to get a smoother ink line. But I should be at least working on Bristol, and I'm not. But I haven't had any problems really flattening the images so far. I've been pretty lucky with that. So just using techniques to flatten watercolor paper seemed to work out okay for this mixed media paper, which is good because it does say that it's usable for watercolor right on the book. But I'm always skeptical about that because it definitely has a crinkle to it far worse than any watercolor paper I've ever used. So you're actually reading the last issue of Walking Dead right now. Nice. I wish I was. I think what was the last issue I was able to pick up? Last time I went back to California. Looks like 134 was the last I read. I love where it's kind of going. It's offshooting into. It was a little like, well, okay, what's happening? Like talking or whatever, and then it went the other way, and I was like, yeah, okay, fine. And it's kind of getting to something new and exciting, different. You know, I love how Walking Dead does that. Every issue is. I mean, it's not always the most exciting thing in the world, but there's always something going on and something that you can at least relate to the characters in the comic, but also like the universe is constantly expanding. As opposed to the show, I don't feel like quite captures that same thing because I just don't feel it as attached to the characters in the show as I do the comic book. If that makes sense. But then reading and gaining your own impressions, and I mean, I don't know. But I feel like for the comic to accomplish something like that with so much less time and character development is really impressive. But yeah, there have been some issues where I was just like, you're blowing my mind. Or Carl's. Whatever. Nobody. Spoilers. Anyway. So, Groot zombie would be dope. Yeah. I definitely I think that drawing Groot and Rocket especially would probably be really cool as a zombie. Star-Lord would be hard to do because he gotta have his helmet or whatever. So I'd probably do that. I don't. Groot's a tree. I'm always confused. I like try and figure out, oh, how would they become a zombie? And like trees can't be zombies, but they could be rabid, I guess. I don't know. I just draw him really angry. Come on. This isn't blending the way I want it to. Right in here. It's like it's just not working right. There we go. So I'm kind of trying to darken it up. Her costume's like two-toned pink and red. So let's see. Yeah, darker on the cape and it's actually like all one color in this picture. There we go. Yeah, two-toned. So darker here, lighter here, but still pink. Pink versus red. So I'm gonna do another layer over all of this, darken it up, and then do a lighter layer. Actually, I might just do highlights because it's such a lighter shade. That makes more sense. Also save me some time. Yeah, I'm pretty exhausted right now. I've been working. I woke up and started working on what was it? What did I'm so tired. I didn't even know. I think I started with Hawkeye this morning. No, Black Widow. Black Widow is what I started with this morning. Anyway, I just kind of burned through all the zombies with ink wash, but each one still takes like like an hour or so. I don't know. I'm probably like 11 hours in right now, artwork wise, for the day, which is cool. But that's how I like to spend my days off if I can. Tomorrow will be a little less productive. People want to hang out with me. I'm only in Idaho for so much longer, so I got friends who want to see me, stuff like that going on, which is understandable. I'm kind of a shut-in, so if people actually make the attempt to contact me and ask if I want to hang out, I try and respond and get out of the house occasionally. My back is kind of killing me. Sitting in this chair forever. Yeah, I did the splinter sketch and drawing literally right before this one, so I've pretty much been sitting in this chair for minus the half-hour break I took between the two drawings for close to 4 hours. Plus all the time of setting up and whatever else. So, but I try not to rush myself, even if I'm feeling a little bit tired. I'll sleep when I'm dead. One of my favorite sayings. I use it all the time, but it's the truth. I feel like sleep's a waste of time, honestly. Being productive is one of my favorite things. Getting work done. I have something to show people every day, as opposed to like, oh, this is what I accomplished this month, and I got like 2 drawings, and that's an accomplishment into itself. I remember when I used to be excited because I'd do like a page a week, and I'd I'd be like, this is my like most productive week ever. And then now that I'm working every day, I'm just like blown away by how much work I can produce. It's really mind-boggling. So, okay, I'm gonna try and add another coat to darken this up. Keep this one a little bit more consistent by making it go by a little bit faster. There we go. Darken up the cape, but leave some highlights. My internet is taking a poop, so I'm signing off. Hope to talk to you on the next stream or even in the comments. Your work is great, and the payoff will come soon for you. Keep it in mind. I really appreciate that, man. Once the live stream's done, videos are always up. So please subscribe, and yeah, you can check out the rest of the video later. No big deal. I'm not worried about it. But thank you for tuning in. Says I have 1 viewers, but I think that's me trying to view my comments. That's usually what it is. So, but for anyone watching the video afterwards, I really appreciate that too. Thank you very much. And please feel free to comment or leave comments. If I spot comments that are like asking questions about specific things or anything like that, I'll try and address them in later videos for sure. Where did I flip the paper upside down to work on? Her hands? I don't even know. I'm like lost. Totally lost. Darken up this blood. Make it pop. Sorry, got real quiet here. Now that I'm not having back and forth conversation, of course I got quiet for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot left either. This, like I said before, this drawing's not hardcore complex or anything, you know. So I don't want to give it more time than it deserves. Not deserves, needs is a better way to say that. If I said deserves, that'd be totally different because if I did the amount of work I feel like every piece deserves, I'd never be done. And you got to finish work, or at least call it finished. New viewers, thanks for coming in. Feel free to comment, ask any questions you might have. Updating, refreshing the YouTube page to view comments about every 2 to 3 minutes. So if you do comment or have any questions, I should get to them pretty quickly. And feel free to ask. Don't be nervous. I'm like a normal dude. But I'm almost done. So. I don't know why I didn't make this a circle. Kind of wish I did. It's a little lopsided and weird. I guess I wanted to have like a more organic feeling to it. But Okay, just a couple more little things, maybe. Yeah, I'm just gonna do one darker coat over the whole cape, on the background on the right side, and I should be done. And that's just to kind of blend those highlights in and darken it up. Oh, you're back. So it was you that came back. Okay. Almost finished up, man. So no worries. Didn't miss a lot. Just me kind of messing around with whatever that is over there. So I didn't realize that Scarlet Witch is actually a sorceress. She's actually a witch. Technically, that is her actual title. So, which is interesting to me that Marvel really crossed into the realm of fantasy with no hesitation, even as far back as Stan Lee doing the Avengers. You know, that's a really cool thing that they crossed genre so early on. I don't know much about the history of comics, but I think that things that are pretty cool where it's really, you know, there's no limits to what you're making or what you're doing. If you want to make superheroes, okay, but make superheroes that have powers like a witch. Boom, Scarlet Witch. I think that's a really cool thing that they did there. You know, I mean, some characters already have powers that are like that. Look at Magneto. Controls things metal. I mean, that's just a kick-ass power. Could you imagine in today's day and age, like Magneto rule the world in a heartbeat? Everything's made out of metal. Everything. Everything's electronic. He could probably hack an ATM with his mind. You know? Free money. All right. I think I'm just about done here. I really appreciate you tuning in, man. Did you follow me on Instagram? If so, make sure I know who you were. You can just put a comment with your name or direct message me. Direct message me. I generally respond to everything on Instagram. I'm on Instagram all day. I'm not even gonna lie about that. It's like my life right now. Like I said earlier, my Tumblr's connected, but I never go on there to respond to comments or anything because I just generally don't have any. If I have some, I'll go on, but I haven't had any real success or luck with the Tumblrverse of things. I mean, I use hashtags all day long, so you'd think that someone would see my stuff and reblog it, but it hasn't happened yet. Just accentuating curves with some shadows here, adding them just little touches that aren't even necessarily needed, but it's past midnight anyway. All right, like I said, thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe, and should be doing another video in the next couple days for Phoenix. And not sure what I'll be doing tomorrow afternoon, so keep an eye out on Instagram. I'll probably do a sketch of a random zombie. So I'll decide what it's going to be, which zombie it will be, or what character it will be tomorrow. Might do Ninja Turtles, since people seem to be pretty excited about that tonight. So we'll see. I need to get back and draw hiking. So that's also top of my list of to-dos. Let's finish off my series there. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a good night. I'll refresh my comments one more time, just in case. And let's see. Yeah, could load anytime. Oh, my internet's terrible too. So yeah. All right. I think about Magneto and This World is Scary, just to buy your comic. Thank you. Thanks for buying it. I really appreciate that. That's a big deal for me. So thank you very much. Have a good night. I'm sure if you like my stuff on Instagram, I'll find you. No, that's not what I want. What's happening? Stop broadcast.